Way back in episode 11 of Blackboard Fridays, we talked about your sales hourglass, the journey from prospect to becoming your client, and the speed and volume at which people move through that journey. Today we're going to focus on one specific but very, very important part of that. How do you, in a sales meeting situation, convert a prospect from a proposal to winning them as a client? And this is the framework that I use to increase conversion rates with my clients and for myself and my business. On average, a salesperson wins about 30% of those live proposals that they get a chance to pitch for. 1 in 3. That's your fair share. And yet I'm finding for myself and my clients, we're often winning 2 and 3, and in some cases 8 or 9 out of 10 in those opportunities, just by following this simple framework. Now, the key to this is understanding it is not a prescriptive agenda for your sales meetings. It is an energetic series of conversations you need to have. And when you have each of these conversations, possibly in this order, possibly not, you will find that your conversion rate will go through the roof. So let's walk through them. It starts at the very, very top with the name. This is the gratitude sales model. And we do that for 2 reasons. One is to anchor in for yourself that you are coming into every sales conversation from a position of gratitude. Yes, you are absolutely delivering value in the relationship, you are worth it, and your confidence is a critical factor in winning that work. And you need to respect the client and be forever grateful that they are entrusting their business, their needs to you. Sitting in that space can sometimes dramatically change the conversation and mean right from the moment you walk in the door, you have a leg up over your competitors. The second reason I remind you to say thank you is that that's a nice little thank you, and you see the T and the Y are repeated throughout. It's a nice little mnemonic device to help you remember these 6 conversations. So let's walk through them. Ideally, you do go through them in this order. That's the most powerful. But as I say, sometimes the clients take you off track in a sales meeting, and you need to loop back to cover them off. The very, very first, and the T is about them, their agenda. You will walk into a sales meeting with your agenda, but the first thing you want to do is find out what their agenda is. Are they here simply to find out how they can engage? Can we jump straight to the end of the conversation and just start booking in dates? Or do they have a whole range of questions? I'd encourage you to watch our momentum meeting model video in order to understand how to set some better agendas. Once you're clear on the agenda, their agenda, you shift into the next conversation. And I like to say when you shift between these boxes, say thank you. Thank you for sharing that agenda with me. Now, before we jump into that, can I just ask, what do you know about me and my business? So this shifts from them to you, and specifically your brand promise. What you want to be hearing at this point in the sales meeting is whether or not that prospect you're sitting in front of has a strong idea of you and the value that you bring. Because if they don't, if they're woefully misinformed, you want to correct that up front and not way down here at the bottom. This does give you a chance, if they have no idea, to roll out your brand promise. And again, I'd encourage you to watch episode 27 of Blackboard Fridays, where we go through how to create a consistent brand promise. This is not a chance to spend 15 minutes talking about yourself. This is your 90-second elevator pitch or positioning statement to just confirm exactly what it is that you do and how that brings value. That sets a context then for diving into the conversation. Enough about you. Thank you for letting me clarify that. Now, let's talk about you. Back to them, back to the prospect. And what you're really wanting to understand here is what's motivating them, what's driving them, what is their need in this transaction. If they don't have a need, it will be much harder to sell. Sometimes they don't even know what need they have. And this can form the bulk of the time in your sales meeting, really going to depth, building the relationship and understanding them. I still see too many salespeople, great business owners with a great product and service to sell, jumping very, very much into their own solution and what they feel or they think the client needs. Spend more time talking about them, and when you do make that transition back to you, back to your solution, You'll need far less time because you'll be able to anchor that in to their specific motivation. Create the space. Listen, thank you for sharing all of that. Here's how I feel we can help. Understand their motivation and connect your solution with that. And once you've done that, shut up. Now that can feel a little bit awkward for you when you're sitting in a situation where you're not talking, but understand your client needs time to catch up. They've just shared a heap of things with you, maybe some of that they haven't shared with anybody else or anybody else recently. You've proposed a solution to them and they're needing time to connect those dots. Your pause here gives them the respect that they are due to help connect those dots that you made because you're an expert in this field. And once they've done that, once they've connected those, they've caught up to the conversation, then their brain and their body will start to make a decision. And that decision will push them in one of two directions. They will either start coming back with objections or concerns or other questions because you've missed something. That's okay, go back, understand them more, discuss your solution again, shut up again. But ideally, at this point, they make a decision. They feel that you have given them a solution that nobody else has proposed and that nobody else can deliver. And so we go back to them, and their questions are now going to be forward-looking questions. How much does this cost? What's the process? How quickly can we make this happen? Those are excellent questions for you to be able to answer, to get that commitment, to get that connection with the client, and wherever possible, get them in the diary and sold in this sales meeting. Because once you've answered those questions, once you've confirmed that they are willing to buy, the last step is as simple as you closing down the meeting. And your responsibility in this, the final box, the final conversation in the gratitude sales meeting model, is to calm all of the energy. No matter how excited they may be, or confident, or impassioned, or emotional about the purchase that they're making, your responsibility is to calm all of that energy down so that when they walk out of that meeting, they walk out feeling connected with the decision. They don't walk out on a high because that means they will crash. And if they crash, they may change their mind. And similarly, you really don't want them walking out in that emotional state you may have taken them into. Bring that back to calm. And once you do, your job is done. Wrap things up. Don't do the small talk. Get out of that meeting. Go and put them in the diary and start delivering the solution that you proposed. This, I say, can take about an hour to learn. I think we're about 5 or 6 minutes into a video and you've got the gist of it, but it takes a lifetime to master. I would encourage you to draw that down, take a picture of it, or send me an email and I can send you a diagram that you can use as a reminder both before and after your sales meetings. Before, to remind yourself to go in with a space of gratitude and have these conversations, and afterwards to reflect on what you did well and what you might do differently in the future. Practice with an excellent model makes for excellent solutions moving forward. If your conversion rates are hovering around about that 1 in 3, that 30% that is average, then you ought to be motivated to do better, to get that to 40, 50, 60% or more. And I hope through this and future conversations, you find the gratitude sales meeting model to be the solution you need.